How's it going, everyone? This is Tom, and this is the iPad Air. Just a few things before we start. If you're unaware, I did a video a few days ago going over my 5 hates for the iPad Air, and this is my 5 loves. If you didn't happen to catch my 5 hates, that video will be linked in the top bar of the description, so you can check that out if you want to. Also, please excuse any fireworks that may or may not go off in this video. It's actually around firework night here in the UK, so there may be them going off in the background. Hopefully I'll try to minimize it as much as possible. Okay, so let's crack on with my loves, and the first one's a pretty obvious one. I'd imagine you'd realise this be on my list. It's the thinness of the new iPad Air. It's in the name, it's one of the main selling features. Here it is next to an iPhone 5S and an HTC One. The HTC One is not a bulky device. It dwarfs the iPad Air purely because this iPad, this 9.7-inch iPad, is just very, very thin. The same thickness as an iPhone 5S to be exact. And if you want more emphasis, here it is next to a standard HB pencil, probably something you have lying around the house if you need a comparison. As you can see there, just insanely thin, so that's definitely one of my top 5. Next up, just how light this thing is. It really is quite exceptional to go from the iPad 4 to the iPad Air. It really does make a difference. The vast reduction in kind of thickness and also the thinner bezels result in a fantastically light package now. It's about £0.5 pound less in weight than the old iPad 4, so that is obviously quite a substantial reduction in weight. This is now a viable option just to carry around with a laptop. It's no longer a heavy object, and it's getting very close in weight to the iPad mini. As you can see here, the main reason I switched to the iPad mini was because I needed a lighter tablet, and to be honest, I prefer to have a larger form factor if that form factor doesn't substitute my portability, and this iPad Air definitely does that. It keeps things portable whilst having that beautiful 9.7-inch display. So talking slightly about that display, normally when you have a display this resolution and you thin a device down, you're going to get a reduction in battery life, but that's just not what has happened here. The battery life is, for want of a better word, just incredible. I've been so impressed with the battery life on the iPad Air. It was one of my biggest worries switching from the mini to the Air due to the fact that the iPad mini has fantastic battery life as well. But as you can see right here, I'm on 62% charge currently. I go into my settings and go to my usage. I've used this charge for 3 hours and 31 minutes with 6 hours of standby, and that's actually about 2 of those hours have been playing Infinity Blade 3, which is pretty incredible when you think about it. With conservative use on this iPad Air, I have no problem whatsoever spending 3 or 4 days without plugging in again. Next up, let's talk general performance. The performance on this iPad is just impeccable. It is fantastic. The combination of Apple's A7 64-bit processor with the M7 coprocessor running alongside it just makes for a fantastic experience whether you're gaming or just general browsing. As you can see here, I'm playing Infinity Blade 3 and it's just tears through this game with no problem whatsoever. One of the most intensive games available on the App Store, and what's just great about this is I have yet to experience a hiccup or a bug or anything like that with this iPad. My experience has been pretty much flawless, which you can't really say about many devices out at the moment. Whether you're doing high performance activity just like this, with a game with intense 3D rendering like Infinity Blade 3 or RIP Thay GP2 that's playing in the background now, you're going to experience the same fluidity and the same kind of easy to use usability that you just don't get with other mobile operating systems. It really is nice to have an experience with basically no flaws from the performance side. And then finally, to finish off, we have web performance. I generally use my iPad for browsing and just general media consumption. I obviously have a MacBook, which I do a lot of my more intensive on-the-go work on. So it's very good news for me that this iPad Air is the first iPad to get MIMO. This stands for multiple input, multiple output antennas for its 802.11n Wi-Fi. It basically just means it's a lot quicker than the previous iPad for web browsing. And obviously when I pretty much only do web browsing on here, everything I do is connected to the internet. So that's a very good thing, whether it's using email apps, email clients, or just browsing on, for example, the Google Plus app. Anything like that is just going to be quicker for, which is great news for me and my kind of tablet experience. There we have it, guys. That pretty much wraps up my 5 things I love about the new iPad Air. If you have one, definitely be sure to let me know your 5 in the comments down below. I'm going to respond to it as much as possible. Also, check out my Google Plus profile ever since the comments blew up with the whole Google Plus thing. I'm actually using this a lot more. I really like the social network. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done already. Hopefully you did enjoy or found this video useful, and I will catch you next time.